Hi class, so I think it'll be faster to just explain in video as opposed to writing a really long email to all of you virtual people. So briefly, what you're doing for lab is the first part of lab, you're looking at some cells undergoing mitosis. So you look at some whitefish cells and you look at some onion cells, and you'll see them in different stages of mitosis, and there's some differences between animals and plants, and that's all great. The part that gets a little bit more, in my personal opinion, interesting but also a little trickier to explain is the part where you start getting into Mendelian genetics. And so we're going to have you simulate Mendelian genetics, and in lab what you do is you'd pick 4 alleles that you had, and a lab buddy would also pick for what alleles they have. And I realize you can't do that because you're virtual. So this is how it's going to be. But just to show you, because sometimes I think it helps to see what the idea is, and then this online version. For instance, so we're right here in your lab. You've already done the first page of drawing pictures and stuff. We're now on the first page, and I realize you can't read that quite yet, but it says, find out what genes you got from your mom, find out what genes you got from your dad, write them down. So in lab, what you do is you go through this bucket of genes. This one is for the blood types. It's for the blood carbohydrates that you have on the outside of your blood. So you'd pick and you'd be like, from mom, I got the blood carbohydrate gene. This is the B allele. And from dad, I got the A allele, right? And you'd write that down. Mom, I got A. Dad, I got B. And then down here, you have, that's your genotype. And if you look on the handy-dandy chart that you have access to as well, this handy-dandy chart has the correlation between what the genotype is and what the phenotype is. So if you look that you have 1B and 1A, as you look through that chart, you look around and you're like, aha, if I have 1A and 1B, my phenotype for blood is AB. Not all of them are exactly the same. So for instance, if you had picked, let's see, you'd picked an O from mom and B from dad. When you look through your handy-dandy chart, you'd see that 1B and 1O is blood type B. So far, so good? So you go and you do that with a series of genes. So you pick for blood carbohydrate, blood Rh factor. For pigment, you pick 3 times. For mom, 3 times from dad, because it's a multi skin color is a multi-gene character. So you fill this all out, and then you have your handy-dandy chart of your genotype and your phenotype. Now, you don't have the buckets, so what you're going to do is you're going to use this chart here. So you'll see that there's numbers over in this column, and then each specific character. So, for blood carbohydrate type, you've got the A's, B's, and O's. You've got a nice little random number generator down here. So if you go and you highlight this, oh my goodness. Here we go. If you highlight it and say pull it down, it'll reset the random numbers. Right? You can drop it however many times you want, whatever. But you've reset the random numbers. So then for mom, for blood carbohydrate type, you got the number 15 one. So for mom, you got A. From dad, you got the number 17 one, which is O. Don't click again, it changes. So far, so good. For blood Rh factor, for mom, you got 2, so that's negative. From dad, you got 8, which is also negative, so you've got 2 negatives. So on and so forth. And you do that for the whole thing. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. That's most of it. So you've got that chart, you're filling that out. The trick is, first of all, there's capital P's and lowercase p's. The capital P's are bolded, just make it easier to see. If you can, talk in a buddy to your mate. So the buddy does the same thing and fills out what their genotype and phenotype is, and then you all are going to find out what your offspring look like. So for each of your for each of the traits we're looking at, blood type, on your genotype you have 2 alleles. You might have OO, you might have OA, you might have AA, you might have AB, whatever. You're going to flip a coin, and if you flip heads, you're going to give the first one to your offspring. If you flip tails, you're giving the second one to your offspring. Your mate is doing the same thing. If they flip heads, they're giving their first one to their offspring, to your combined offspring, and if they flip tails, they're giving their second one. So you're going to draw, and you're going to flip for all of these. You're going to make an offspring with your mate, and so you'll know their genotype, and then from their genotype, you're going to check in a handy-dandy chart and find out their phenotype. And you'll do that a second time, and then you'll do that a third time, but with a different partner. And if you don't have access to partners who are interested in doing this with you, or you're just by yourself, you can just fill out a chart as if you're a new person. So you'd repick from the random allele generator. You repick. Does that make sense? Yeah, hopefully that works. That's what you're doing. There's the handout that has the whole lab in it. There's the handout that's the handy-dandy chart that explains what each the genotype phenotype mapping, and then there's this this chart back here that's the random generator of alleles. What you're turning in is under coursework, which I realize you got this from here. Coursework, it's like an online quiz that you're turning in the answers to the last few set of questions. So hopefully that helps, and good luck, and happy, I don't know, I guess, making offspring.